Have you ever dreamed of speaking English confidently? Imagine yourself walking into an interview and answering every question without fear. Imagine traveling to another country and communicating naturally with people. Imagine expressing your thoughts clearly, sharing your ideas, and speaking without constantly translating in your mind. For many people, this feels impossible. They believe that becoming fluent in English requires years of expensive courses, extraordinary talent, or living in an English-speaking country. But what if none of that were true? What if just one focused hour every day could completely transform your English? Yes, only 1 hour. It sounds too simple, yet sometimes the simplest ideas are the most powerful. Today, we are going to discover why 1 hour can change your English forever, and exactly how you can use that hour to become a confident English speaker. Let's begin. The ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit." Think about that for a moment. Excellence is not something you do once. It is something you do repeatedly. English fluency works exactly the same way. Most people fail because they focus on intensity instead of consistency. They study for 6 hours on Sunday, then stop for the next 10 days. They buy grammar books, download language apps, watch motivational videos, and make ambitious plans. But after a few weeks, they quit. The problem is not intelligence. The problem is inconsistency. Psychologist Dr. Anders Ericsson, famous for his research on expertise, discovered that the world's top performers improve through something called deliberate practice. Deliberate practice means practicing with complete attention and a clear purpose. It is not about spending endless hours doing something mindlessly. It is about focusing deeply on improving specific skills. 1 hour of deliberate practice can be more valuable than 5 hours of distracted study. Unfortunately, distraction has become one of the biggest enemies of learning. How many times have you started studying English, only to check your phone a few minutes later? A message arrives. You open social media. You watch a few short videos. And suddenly, 30 minutes have disappeared. Researchers at the University of California, Irvine, found that after an interruption, it can take significant time to regain complete focus. This means that every distraction steals not only your time, but also your concentration. Now imagine something different. You sit in a quiet room. Your phone is silent. No notifications. No social media. No distractions. For the next 60 minutes, your only mission is English. That single hour can become one of the most powerful investments in your future. But how should you use it? Let's divide this hour into 3 simple parts. The first 20 minutes should focus on listening. Listening is the foundation of language learning. When Bobbies learn their native language, they spend years listening before they begin speaking fluently. They hear thousands of conversations. They absorb pronunciation, rhythm, sentence structure, and vocabulary naturally. You can use the same principle. Listen to simple English content every day. Choose something that genuinely interests you. It could be podcasts, stories, interviews, documentaries, or YouTube videos. Enjoyment is important. If learning feels like punishment, you won't continue for long. Do not panic if you cannot understand every word. You do not need to understand everything. Focus on understanding the main idea. Over time, your brain will naturally begin recognizing more words and phrases. This process requires patience. Language learning is not a race. It is a journey. While listening, pay attention to pronunciation. Notice how native speakers connect words. Notice their intonation. Notice their rhythm. English is not only about words, it is also about music. Every language has its own melody. The more you listen, the more familiar that melody becomes. The next 20 minutes should focus on speaking. This is where many learners struggle. Why? Because speaking is uncomfortable. People fear making mistakes. They fear being judged. They fear sounding foolish. As a result, they remain silent. But silence never creates fluency. Psychologist Carol Dweck, known for her research on growth mindset, explains that successful people view mistakes as opportunities to learn. Mistakes are evidence that you are trying. Every mistake teaches you something valuable. Children make thousands of mistakes while learning their first language. Yet they continue speaking. They do not wait for perfection. Neither should you. Start speaking today. Speak even if your grammar is imperfect. Speak even if your vocabulary is limited. Speak even if you feel nervous. Fluency develops through practice, not perfection. You can begin by talking to yourself. Describe what you see around you. Describe your daily routine. Talk about your goals. Talk about your dreams. For example, you could say, I woke up at 7 o'clock today. I drank tea. After that, I started working. Simple sentences are enough. Another powerful technique is shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a native speaker and immediately repeating what they say. Try to imitate their pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. This exercise trains your speaking muscles. At first, it may feel strange. You may struggle. That is completely normal. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. Your first attempt will not be perfect. Your 10th attempt may still be difficult. But if you continue practicing every day, improvement becomes inevitable. Now let's move to the final 20 minutes, reading and vocabulary. Reading exposes you to new words, grammar patterns, and ideas. Choose material appropriate for your level. Do not choose something so difficult that every sentence becomes frustrating. Start with simple articles, short stories, or beginner books. Read actively. When you discover new vocabulary, do not simply memorize definitions. Use the words immediately. Create your own examples. Suppose you learn the word opportunity. You could say, learning English creates many opportunities in life. Creating personal examples helps your brain remember information more effectively. Scientists refer to this process as active recall. Research in cognitive psychology consistently shows that actively retrieving and using information strengthens long-term memory. Another useful strategy is maintaining a vocabulary notebook. Write down new words. Write their meanings. Most importantly, write your own example sentences. Review these words regularly. A few minutes of review each day can produce remarkable results over time. Now, there is something important you must understand. Progress in language learning is often invisible. You may study for weeks and feel that nothing is changing. You may even feel discouraged. But this feeling can be misleading. Learning often happens beneath the surface. Your brain is constantly building connections. One day, you suddenly realize that you understand a conversation more easily. You notice that speaking feels slightly more natural. You recognize words that previously seemed unfamiliar. These small improvements accumulate. The famous scientist Albert Einstein reportedly said, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world." Although he was speaking about finance, the same principle applies to learning. Small daily efforts produce extraordinary long-term results. 1 hour today may not seem important. 1 hour tomorrow may not seem important either. But after 30 days, you will have practiced for 30 hours. After 6 months, you will have invested approximately 180 hours. After 1 year, more than 360 hours. Imagine what is possible. Imagine understanding English movies without subtitles. Imagine speaking confidently during job interviews. Imagine communicating with international clients. Imagine traveling without fear. Imagine helping your children with their studies. Imagine the opportunities that fluency can bring. English is not just a language. It is a tool that can open doors to education, careers, friendships, and experiences. But none of these opportunities will appear automatically. You must take action. Starting today, dedicate 1 focused hour to English. Protect this hour. Treat it as an appointment with your future self. Do not cancel it. Do not postpone it. Do not wait for motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline remains. There will be days when you feel tired. There will be days when you feel busy. There will be days when you feel like giving up. Study anyway. Even 20 minutes on difficult days is better than quitting completely. Consistency always beats perfection. Remember this powerful truth. You do not need perfect grammar to start speaking. You do not need an advanced vocabulary. You do not need a foreign accent. You do not need extraordinary talent. You only need consistency, patience, and courage. Courage to make mistakes. Courage to sound imperfect. Courage to continue when progress feels slow. Because every fluent English speaker once stood exactly where you stand today. Confused, nervous, uncertain. Yet they continued. And so can you. 1 hour, 60 minutes, 3,600 seconds. That is all it takes to begin changing your English forever. The journey starts today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Because one day, you will look back and realize that the hour you decided to start was the hour that changed your life. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who is learning English. And remember, your future fluency begins with the next 1 hour.